Today, it feels like we're deprived of any kind of pirate media, especially in video games. So when a game like Skull and Bones comes along, lots of us were really interested to see what it was like. At least that's what you'd think, but I don't see anybody really covering this game. I don't know why. It's a free open beta. Well, I might have an idea why, but we'll get into that. I played it tonight, so I want to give you my first impressions of what I thought about it. Is it something that could actually kill Sea of Thieves and be the next big pirate game? Or is it half-baked or even quarter-baked, maybe? Let's get into this. First off, I don't see a lot of people talking about Skull and Bones, despite coming from Ubisoft, and they're even claiming it's what's called a Quadruple A game, which is absurd. I've never heard of that. We're just making up buzzwords wherever we can now, huh? Whatever keeps us relevant, huh? Nonetheless, with the new game, you expect YouTube to be flooded with conversations about it. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not even seeing ads for it. I have some friends that have been seeing ads for it, but me personally, I've seen nothing. I randomly came across it when I was searching for something else entirely on Google. I don't even remember what, and it just popped up, and I said, hey, new pirate game. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I really wanted to like Sea of Thieves, but I could never get my account to work, so I haven't bothered, which is a whole other can of worms. I played the alpha and a little bit of the beta of Sea of Thieves, and when it fully released, I can't sign in. I've tried to get it to work. Nothing will work, so I've given up. So I'm more depraved and starved for pirate media than anybody, okay? I earned that ticket. And I went in with some serious optimism. In fact, I put out a blast to everybody that was in my stream that night. Let's all play together. But then we get in, and it's only 3 people, which is fine, but that's usually restricted to like battle royales and not even as much anymore. 4 people's kind of the golden number for cooperative games, at least in my opinion. But nonetheless, Lumen, Jesus, and myself set out on an adventure. And with the beginning showing that 3 people sit inside of the smaller boat, we assumed we'd be on the boat together. But right away, that's the biggest issue with the game. You all have to drive your own boat, which to some people that might be interesting, but I thought it would be more fun if we could all maneuver around on the boat, maybe have different jobs, kind of like Sea of Thieves. I get it, I can go there and get that there, but you kind of expect it in a pirate game. You kind of expect the pirates to do more than just hit in the open seas. The whole pirate's life is, for me, what am I saying? I want it all, especially if you're going to call yourself a Quadruple A game or studio or whatever. Do more. But that wasn't enough to deter me. I did notice some funny graphical issues, especially in the tutorial, that I couldn't help but get a good chuckle at, so that was nice, but also really goofy.
The deck? The poop deck?
The poop deck. Let's if there's like 30 cannons constantly being refilled. Oh shit, low settings. Low settings is cool. That was right before I learned that this is a $90 game. It can be a $90 game if you want to play 3 days earlier after the free beta ends. $90 for that. You know, I can't judge. There's been some games that I've purchased or had purchased for me that were a little bit earlier, and I did have to pay a bit more, but I had more optimism for that. This game, I knew nothing about. So to judge it off of $90 after seeing some goofy cutscenes like that, I feel is justified just a little bit. Because as you know, I don't like to judge a book by its cover. I like to give it a chance. But at this point, I'd already given the game a little bit of a chance, and I assumed it was free to play. This looks like a game that needs to be free to play. Ubisoft doesn't have that kind of weight to them anymore, or if they ever really did, maybe at the peak of Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six, they had some clout where people would come through and expect a polished product, but they're a bit of a laughingstock nowadays. I mean, I had to launch the game in Ubisoft Connect without realizing I could do it in Epic, which would have been nicer, but I don't want either one of those. Everybody wants Steam. You know that's how it goes for us PC players. You can make a case for Ubisoft Connect and having to have an account so you could do crossplay, but crossplay wasn't even working for one of us, so we had to turn that off and only play with PC. Which is fine, you expect smaller lobbies, but it can still be fun sometimes. Once I got into the boat, I immediately wanted to start shooting other people because it's a pirate game. I want to be a piece of shit and pillage and destroy people's enjoyment. I mean, it's a pirate game. That's what you're for. You're supposed to bully people, right? And then have fun with your friends while you're doing it. That's the point. And I noticed my spears, my cannons, nothing was doing any damage to other enemy players, which is weird because it told me I left the safe zone and yet I wasn't doing anything. Again, I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll just play the game, a cooperative experience, have some fun together, eat some gator tail or whatever the hell we can find. I couldn't help but notice that there's no emphasis on foot combat. It seems to be all about the votes, but you can't even swim. You're a pirate that can't swim. I tried to go in some water in one of the areas and instead it just wouldn't let me. It would just kick me out of it a little bit. The design of the game can look pretty good in some places, especially if you have a higher end PC. Some of the models and stuff look great. Some stuff at a distance does kind of look like Play-Doh, or just like just generally looks like shit sometimes, which is kind of whack for a quadruple. I hope I don't have to say this too many times, but for a quadruple A game, it's got to be better than that. But I've never really been one to nitpick any kind of graphics or anything like that. I've been playing Minecraft since the alpha. I can appreciate a game that doesn't focus on that and focuses on the gameplay loops. Once we got our first gameplay loop, we had to go and find acacia wood, which included like a DVD-inspired button mashing game where you had to like wait out a saw that was chopping down a tree on the side of your boat. You don't even get out and chop the tree or nothing. You just like see a little animation that chops the tree down. To me, it just felt like maybe the game should focus less on resources. It's not really supposed to be a survival game, it feels like, and maybe just focus more on getting gold and making the activities really varied and fun so that you want to go get the gold and you want to go do these things. Maybe fight like the Kraken or something. It's pirates, it's bullshit, it's all for fun. You can also feel that the game wants you to take it a little bit slower. The first boat you get is super slow. It's such a slog to get anywhere. You do get your second boat right away and it goes about twice as fast, but I swallowed a dust bunny or something. I don't know what that was. Maybe a fly. I hope it wasn't a fly. But it still feels very slow and groggy to do anything in the game. The gameplay itself just feels really limited. I wasn't expecting a story going in. I looked at this as some sort of PvP, PvE cooperative experience that focuses on the missions. So I'm not really sure what the story's about. To be frank with you, I skipped the cutscenes, mostly because I can tell I wasn't going to spend $70 to $90 to buy this game. So the story's not too important to me. I'm not going to get roped into something that I have no attachment to or plan to have any attachment to at all. That being said, I don't want to be too negative on the game. I think there is a crowd for this game. People that like ships, you know, if that's something they really focus on, they might get a kick out of this. The customization seems like there's some pretty good level of detail there. I was able to buy a lemur for like all the silver I had. I had to sell everything I had and I could have a lemur. That was basically my end goal. To me, I beat the game when I got the lemur on my ship and we took some pictures of him. He's a very cute and good boy. I guess what I'm trying to say is this game feels half-baked or even quarter-baked. It's a free beta, but isn't it supposed to come out soon? I think it's like a week or two and this game fully releases. If this is what we're getting, I'm surprised more people aren't having any coverage on this to warn people to not to buy this. Like I said, it's for a very specific crowd, and I hope that crowd has a good time. I don't want to be too negative, but man, I was bored the entire time. I mean, it was an absolute buzzkill. It's like going to Disneyland and all the good rides are shut down and Goofy checked out early. What the hell am I supposed to do? What? There's not even a jackass like Goofy for me to laugh at. There's some things I think they should do to make the game a better experience and make people actually want to be interested in it. Mostly they need to focus on the gameplay loops. Maybe do some stuff outside of the boat rather than just find people to give you quests and missions to go back onto the boat and sail what seems kind of like a small ocean. I think the oceans are divided by loading screens because it did tell me I was going to the Indian Ocean. That again seems kind of lazy to just have the maps separate from one another instead of having one giant, vast, awesome experience of a map that makes you want to travel from point A to point B. I mean, look at Power World is a good example. I love talking about Power World. I'll keep talking about Power World forever. All of that map you just have to explore. You want to chart the whole thing, even the empty ocean, just to have the completion of the map being finished like that. Unless the Indian Ocean is the only place in the game that you go to, which would be really lame. It didn't really seem that big, so I don't think that's the case. It felt like I could see past the starting islands and it didn't really look like there was anything out there. So if the only thing you could do is cruise around in your boat and shoot generic NPCs in their boats, it's really not that interesting to me. It's something you could do once and then pretty much have your fill of it. I hate to make a hit piece. It's Ubisoft. It's a quadruple A game, so I'm punching up, so I don't feel terrible about it. But I just wish there was more to do and some more redeeming qualities because everything just seems so basic and standard, and it seems like they started building this thing 3 months ago, and this is the progress that we have. This sort of feels like the kind of game that would sink Ubisoft, no pun intended. They haven't had their good graces in a long time. I don't remember the last time anybody had any praise for them. Excuse me for my ignorance there. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. But I guess I'm just depressed because I wanted to go in swashbuckling and I ended up having more fun with the camera mode. Just dicking around with that with Lumen, just taking the goofiest pictures of me with no pants. That was funny, but like we had to make it fun. And I don't think the game's intentions are for every pirate to look like a deranged crackhead that's not wearing pants. Basically a malnourished Tommy Pickles grown up at sea. I don't think that's what they were looking for there. So we made that funny. Not you, Ubisoft. You didn't do shit in the comedy department. Maybe you did. I just kind of skipped all the goddamn cutscenes because 70 fucking bucks, bro, for real? 30, 40 bucks seems very fair for this. Maybe 20 bucks seems pretty fair for this, but $70 is incredibly steep. I think free to play would have been good. There's microtransactions or whatever. Apparently there's already a battle pass in the works, which is just, that's expected, but yay. Punch your $70 ticket for a battle pass is crazy to me. Like I said, these were just my first impressions, so the game could be really good as it opens up and it gets more expansive as you go along, but it personally didn't feel that way. It feels good to be able to close the book after opening it and experiencing it a little bit, and knowing that I could never truly get a refund of the time I wasted playing this. Bye.
And over here.
Does that mean we gotta get in the slow-ass boats again?
Let me find the closest one.
Bro, why can't they do a pirate game with jet skis like Somalian pirates? What is this? This is fucking garbage.
Ain't no assassinate sauce. I'm a hero, you ain't better stop. Nah, doing it head to step. What would it be for a weapon? Suplex, how we rest. Swords down, keep your chest in.